What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Tits here, and today I'm going to do a quick little breakdown on the damage mods for the new free game on Steam called Warframe. So, I'll try to make this as quick as possible, but this video, it's a little bit hard for this game. It's a really obscure game. Obscure stats, I mean, they don't really explain stats at all in this game. And luckily I found a website that tells a lot about damage reductions from all the different enemies and whatnot and bonuses, and I'll put that in the description. But and I'm also gonna do like best class loadout, like weapon loadouts and builds in the next few videos I do, so look out for those. But I'll try to explain these the best I can here. So let's start with so the damage mods here. Basically, out of all your damage mods, I'm also going to consider multi-shot kind of like a damage mod. Armor piercing is going to be your best. Basically, out of the three factions, the three enemies, armor piercing does great damage against Grenier, and then it gives good damages to pretty much the rest of the enemies. So you're always going to want to have that 100% up, and just have that on all your classes pretty much all the way up. And then we come down to electrical, freeze, fire, and regular damage. Well, real quick, let me explain multi-shot because it's really popular. What multi-shot means is, let's say it's 100%. 100% multi-shot means 100% of your bullets, meaning each bullet from your rifle, or each pellet from your 10 pellets per shot, like if it was like the Strun, let's say, 100% of them are going to be replicated into 2 bullets. This is why it works really good on shotguns, because each shot is 10 pellets, so actually it'll end up being 20 pellets after 100% multi-shot. Now a lot of you ask, what is 120% multi-shot? Is that, you know, how does that work and everything? What that means is, after the 100% of the shots, well, which means all of your shots get replicated into 2 bullets, the extra 20% will basically make 20% of your bullets replicate into 3 shots, turn into 3 shots. So that's how that works. So with the damage mods, basically the breakdown is: Fire's great against infected, and it staggers infested. Frost is great against shields. It slows all enemies, and that's it. Electric is great against Corpus, and it staggers Corpus. Normal damage is normal damage. It pretty much gives a flat, you know, just 100%, you know, your normal damage throughout pretty much all enemies, most all enemies. And the one thing that's nice about normal damage, though, is the thing you got to think about, like, let's say, is like if you got 2 mod spots left, but you only got a certain amount of points, let's say, to spend, let's say 6 points or whatever, and you're wondering, well, should I throw in Stormbringer? Or let's say you got 8 points. Should I throw in Stormbringer? You know, that costs 6, and then I can throw 2 more in it. That'll be 45% added electrical. Or, you know, or should I just add them somewhere else? The thing is with the special thing about this, goes for most weapon classes too. The great thing about normal damage is, instead of only going up to 90% plus damage and having, you know, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slots, it's got 10 slots, and I'm pretty sure it goes up to, I think it's 120% damage. So instead of wasting your 8 points in electrical damage and only getting plus 45% electrical, given, like, if you already have Serration in there, you could just put, you know, your last 8 points in Serration. You could fill the whole thing up. Now, given this is gonna take a while because you know, it costs a lot of money in fusion cores to get it ranked all the way up. So in the long run, that'll be best. But in the short run, you'd probably want to go up halfway with it and then put on like fire rate if it needs it, or if it doesn't need fire rate, put on your lightning. So you got a good all-around basis. But mathematically speaking, it would work better to have your serration all the way up, because you're going to get another 150% damage here instead of only 45% damage here. Now, the other thing you got to think of, this is basically what I'm talking about. You know, is if you're making an all-around class. You know, if you change out a mod before you go into a map, that's the way you're gonna have, and the rest of your builds, right? That's the way your damage mods, everything's gonna work best. You're gonna have the most damage in a group. I mean, depending on guns and stuff too. But if you go into a Corpus match, you want that lightning mod in there. You go into Infested, you want that fire. And armor piercing is armor piercing. You should always have armor piercing on, regardless, just because it gives bonuses to everything and great bonuses to Grenier. What else can I say here? The downfalls. So basically, we'll start with freeze. Freeze gives decent bonus against Grenier. I mean, it's not great. It's like 33%. It's a little more than fire for Grenier. And lightning gives just a little more than the freeze, like another 10% or something. But I think that's like just headshots. There's too much. You pretty much just like, I'll just let you look at the guide when I put it in the description. Freeze is really nice because it takes shields down on Corpus instantly, and it slows enemies down. And it pretty much gives pretty decent flat bonuses throughout, except Infested, it's a little bit lower. It's like 50% or 75 or something. And Corpus, it's average. It's like, well, actually, it's like 200 for some of them and like 100 for the others. I'm talking about crewmen and MOA. Whereas lightning's like 200, but then 400. I think it is. I'm not sure. I think the MOA might be the 400. So anyways, fire actually it's not the greatest. Fire is like is really good against Infested. Usually around 200% damage. And then it is only like average. It's like average against like the Grenier. But I mean, it's below average with Corpus. It's like 25, 35, percent between like the two different enemies within Corpus. And electrical also does no damage at all. It's the only one that does absolutely no damage to the ancient disruptors, toxics, and healers. So when you're making your all-around build, when you're looking at damage mods to put in, there's two ways to look at it. Given, like I said, always have armor piercing and have it all the way up. And then see what your polarity slot is. I have a frost. With this one, the polarity slot I can do is frost. So for half the points, I can go all the way up. So I'm gonna do that regardless. And then basically, I did fire rate just because the bolt tour got lowered a lot. Serration, I'm going to take that as high as I can. I'll probably take that one more point to 90. And then I got Hellfire 90. Now, if I was on Corpus, if I really wanted to do the most damage in the group, I'd try to switch Hellfire out and throw in Stormbringer, ranked all the way up. And that's basically the way to look at that. And even on Grenier, Stormbringer would do all the way up, would do a little bit better than Hellfire, and it would do way better on Corpus. But all around, it's best to kind of do a little bit of frost. It's best to do a little bit of everything. More in the one you got a polarity slot and armor piercing all the way up. I think that's the best way I can explain it. And always have multi-shot on. Another given example is like Twin Vipers. It's fire. Is the with the polarity slot, I have fire be the best to go all the way up with, and then I have crit damage and crit chance, which I mean those are damage mods in a way. So I guess I'll explain those real quick. The way this works is, let's say I'm pretty sure the Viper's 15% crit chance, so I'm guessing if the Twin Vipers are also, I mean you got to look at it kind of like in a 15% way too, but developers haven't got back to me yet. But if it's 15%, let's say, then 100% crit plus 100% crit chance would mean you have to add it from the base. It's not like 100% crit chance, so that's why you don't see all yellows. You're not critting everything. Not all bullets are crits, I mean. So basically 100% would mean, well, the base is 15% crit chance, so plus 100% would be another 15. That'd be 30. 30 is pretty decent. So for the Viper, and you fire so fast, and you got the multi-shot, which is so many extra chances. So that's why, and the crit damage is high on the Vipers. I think it's around like 70% or something. And yeah, because when I put another 30 on, I was getting 100% added extra damage. So crit chance and damage are really good on the Vipers. So now, I mean, that doesn't leave me with a whole lot of slots left. Or a lot of points left. And I got armor piercing here that's not nearly as high as like rifle and shotgun. It only goes up to 30, and it goes up by 5s. So things are different. But regardless, I'm still going to try to go up almost, you know, with this build I didn't go all the way up, but almost all the way up, you know, because armor piercing is so good. And then when it comes down to my last points, it's like, should I add in frost or electric? Well, frost only goes up by 10 points, 10% there, and you can only get up to 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Whereas electric, you can get all the way up to 90, you know. And thing is, though, is, you know, if I were to do, you know, Corpus, I'd probably, you know, I might, you know, put in, you know, electric or something. But, well, I still have actually three levels left on these. So with the 8 points, I'd probably, if I was doing Corpus missions, I'd put this in right here, plus 45%, plus a huge bonus for electric damage with Corpus. Now, if now for the other 2 missions, I would just leave Hornet Strike in, and when I had enough money, which this is going to be a long run once again, like I said before, I would just rank Hornet Strike all the way up and get another 120% damage, making 220% total. Because, you know, if you're not switching mods every faction, all around, Hornet Strike's going to be better, because 120% damage is just a lot better than only having 45%, given if you're trying to use your last 8 points. So, if you don't want to go switching mods every faction, you know, you would just leave in Hornet Strike and rank it all the way up. That's the huge benefit of that. And normal damage is great also because it gives flat bonuses all through the boards. And on headshots, it gives some increased bonuses that are more than elemental. So, I mean, really, it's all circumstantial to the gun, the polarity slot, and what map you're going into. There is no concrete, this certain amount of mods is best for any gun. It all matters with the polarity slots and who you're fighting and whatnot. And yeah, that's about it. I'll leave the guide, and if one last thing, the thing about armor piercing, just to explain that, armor piercing doesn't just mean like, you know, it's there for armor piercing, because a lot of people don't put it on the Boltor, thinking, well, the Boltor, it has innate armor piercing. Why would I put it on? Well, because it's its own elemental damage, armor piercing, just like fire, ice, or anything, and it's super high for Grineer, and decently high for everything else, whereas most other mods are only high or only a little high for one thing, and then they're pretty kind of shitty everywhere else, and in some places do nothing. Like lightning does nothing for the strongest infested, which those are the hardest part about infested, the ancients, the 3 ancients. So that's why, you know, armor piercing is hands down best mod damage wise. And if you want to look at multi-shot as like a damage mod, it's also, you know, the best in there. So that's pretty much all I can say. Please comment, like, subscribe if this video helped you out, and just check this guide out and make your own decisions. And you're really gonna, and you cannot take points away from mods. So if you really care about having the best class and how many points you put in, what mod you're gonna be able to have, because it takes a lot of time and costs a lot of money. Yeah, you better get your calculator out, figure out how many mods are gonna take how many points, and figure it out before you start putting points in, because you can't take points back out of a mod. And if you have to start over on a mod, wow, you might have wasted many rare fusion cores, which you can barely even get anymore, and a lot of money. So you got to be careful. Tune in for my next few videos, which will be specific build videos for different classes, where I will show the best way, and I'm using the term loosely, best way. I'm going to show really good builds, let's say, and I'll show a few different builds for the popular guns: Bolt Torch, Strun, Twin Vipers, Cindo Blades, stuff like that. Alright, catch you guys later. Peace.